Hey, this is David with Champion Specialty. I'm going to give you another video here. Today, we're going to talk about growing your company when it comes to insurance. Um, Gotta love entrepreneurial spirits. It's what makes this country great, in my opinion. Um, but with insurance, it don't align all the time, especially in trucking. And a lot of guys find out the hard way. They get a policy. They find out they either can't grow or they have some definite restrictions or changes to that policy that occur. And I constantly get asked, what's the right way to grow my company when it comes to insurance? The way to grow your company when it comes to financials may be different than insurance. Um, for instance, I had a situation here that one of my customers told me of a friend. We'll keep this one nameless, where they went from 5 trucks to 17 trucks in a matter of 3 months, and their carrier, we will name them uh, carrier, let's say insurance company ABC 123, canceled the policy outright. No explanation except that they grew too fast. They weren't told they couldn't grow. They weren't told that growing would be an issue or there was any restrictions. They just got canceled. Now, my opinion, that's on your agent. An insurance agent would push back on me and say XY123. He doesn't know this. Every agent knows when they bind a policy what is allowed. Now, if the conversation never went to growth, it's one thing. But if you asked an agent if he could grow, and he said yes, and then you get canceled, that's an issue. Um, e- every policy, you kind of know as an agent what you can and can't do. But as a new carrier, there's very few companies that are going to let you grow out the gates. I would say 1 in 10 are going to say you can grow. Of the carrier insurance carriers, when I say carriers, I say insurance carriers is what I'm meaning. That say you're going to be able to grow. And then for instance, at what rate should a trucking company grow to get the best rate? That's a tough question. That's my buddy Adnan, who's growing right now, and he's going to have a good company here. Um, it's a tough question. The gauge, I would say, is if you're at 4 trucks, adding two is not a big deal as long as you're profitable. Now, I say that if you're profitable, it's fine. You have a big claim, you might be in a bad situation. And that's just kind of how it is. Now, all other factors that go into that are years of experience, how long the company's been open, um, what carrier you're with. That's a big one too, man. I mean, there's some companies that, depending on who you're with, you get in a claim and you've been with them for a while, they'll keep you. The rate might go up a little bit, but it's better than having to go up to a massive amount and move carriers. So those things add up. And your first 2 years in business, if you want to grow, it's going to be tough. In my point of view, tough is you're going to have situations where you want to hire this driver, it don't work out, or the insurance company doesn't approve them. Some guys run the gauntlet. I got a guy that first year in business had 8 trucks, but he had 8 good drivers. So the premium wasn't too bad because the rates didn't fluctuate much. Next year, he had the same 8 drivers. Next year after that, he had 1 driver, but his rate's at 4,500 now per truck, which is pretty good rate. Um, but he's one of these guys that had the things in line. The stars kind of aligned in a sense of what his abilities were. He was really good at what he did. The drivers he had, they were really good at what they did, and it worked. And they were all on the same page. And that's huge, man. If you can get your drivers on the same page, that's a big deal, and finding the right guy. But from a standpoint of growth, if I had said, if I had 3 trucks, adding one on, you're good. You got 4 trucks, adding two on, you're good. Five, I'd say two. We could say 2.5, but you can't add 2.5 trucks. Um, and it depends on the carrier too. We're checking this before you let me know you want to grow. We're verifying this with the carrier beforehand. Can he do this? Is it okay if he does that? We're going to check those things. We're not going to just put you out to drive, unless you don't tell us and it's middle of the policy term. You're like, Dave, hey, great opportunity. My brother-in-law's company just got a conditional rating and we're going to add 10 trucks. That's going to be an issue with any carrier because they're going to see those trucks coming from the other company about 4 months in. They're going to say, what's going on here? And that's just how the industry works at this point in time. Um, you know, Growth is the dream. We want to grow. We want to make our companies big where our families can be taken care of. But sometimes the carriers, insurance carriers, have restrictions, and it's just to know what carriers have restrictions and which don't. And at the end of the day, we have to figure that out. I hope that helped you guys. Anybody growing their company, man, hats off to you. Even if you're, anything, it's always, you always have those variables that change on you. So having the right care is big. Have a good one, guys.